So Spider-Man's not just going to be in Civil War and other Marvel movies. He's going to get his own movies in the Marvel Universe. So we're just going to talk a little bit about what we still think can be done with that character on the big screen and what he can do in the Marvel Universe, where a lot of it's obviously already up and running.
Well, I'd like to reiterate what we were talking about before, but use the word angst. I'm done with angst.
Yeah.
I'm done with emo. Let's bring the fun back.
The dancing back.
Well, we know this kid can dance.
No more
No
dancing scenes.
No dance sequence. What about origin story? Do we need an Uncle Ben? Well, I don't
think we need an Uncle Ben. As in, we don't need to see it. I think Uncle Ben needs to exist. I think Aunt May needs to exist. Some of that machinery has to exist because it's just integral to the character.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be foregrounded, and it doesn't have to be integral because there's already a lot more interesting stuff in that Marvel universe. And we don't need to see the origin story we've seen before, but I feel like we're going to see something of an origin story, i.e. he's coming into this world and he's going to have to side in the Civil War, or he's going to figure it in it. He's going to get sucked up into it in some way, which is kind of going to become his origin story in a way. So whether he sides with Captain America or whether he sides with Tony Stark, they're going to influence this young kid who's just going to become a superhero. These are the most iconic superheroes in the world, and they're going to be giving him advice. That's an origin story in a way. It actually sounds really interesting.
Yeah. But I wonder if we're going to see him turn, the initial moment in Civil War, or, there's no reason why this film couldn't have flashbacks and forwards and things. I wonder what they're going to do. Equally, villains.
Yeah.
What do you want to see happen villain-wise?
So many great Spider-Man villains. Like, I think he's, often talk about how great Batman's kind of rogues gallery is. I think on the Marvel side, Spider-Man's is definitely one of the strongest. But I would really like to see new ones. Like, I guess the temptation for Marvel is there's so many great characters that they've never had the ability to play with. They've never had the Norman Osborn or the Doc Ock, and it'd be great for them to suddenly go, oh God, what could we do with them in the Marvel Universe?
Interestingly, Feige said in an interview this week that Feige then added that part of the agreement made between Sony and Marvel would allow for some of the MCU characters to appear in future Spider-Man films, which I think means that it will happen the other way as well. I think that's a distinct possibility.
Yeah, I think it has to be free-flowing, otherwise it's always going to feel like a partitioned part of the universe, which you don't want this ghetto existing. You want it to feel authentic, which is why they made the deal in the first place.
Plus you want the right villain for the right story.
Yeah. And there's loads of great ones. And also, going back the other way, we were just talking about would Daredevil ever get his own movie? In the comics, Daredevil and Spider-Man are both very New York neighborhood hero characters. It'd be great to see them on screen together because Daredevil's as serious as you can probably get in the Marvel Universe right now, and against his levity. Because in the comic, Spider-Man always making fun of Daredevil. Like, he once says to him, you've got a double D on your chest. You do realise Daredevil just, it's just one word. Just like that, kind of like poking fun at him, which would be really funny to see.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that. And then villains, I'd like them to go like Mysterio or Kraven or Vulture. Or I think they could do an interesting version of Venom, because let's face it, the Marvel Universe has the cosmic thing up and running, whereas to do it all in one movie pretty much in Spider-Man 3 was just too much.
Yeah.
Whereas the Guardians of the Galaxy could bring back a symbiote easy.
Yeah. But what about the Sinister Six? They had those big plans for the Sinister Six. They've gone by the wayside. Do you think they might resurrect them and rather than go the direction you're saying?
Yeah, because there's a proposed trilogy of Spider-Man movies. I think what they'll want to do, because I can't remember the exact wording of the deal they struck with Marvel back in February, but it was something like, we want the authenticity, the Marvel authenticity. And I think the best way to do that would be to distance themselves with what they were going down and import stuff from the Marvel Universe. So whether that's tapping into the cosmic stuff they're doing, or there's even runs in the Spider-Man comics where, like Madam Web, where you're tapping into the supernatural. So they might look at Doctor Strange and go, oh, he's a New York-based hero.
Yep.
Can we do something there? And I think they'll be smart if they look at what films are coming up in the Marvel roster and get those directors and writers collaborating.
Yeah, sure. One question I wanted to ask you, which is kind of bothering me. Do you think it's a missed opportunity that in the week they announced Miles Morales for the comics, that we've got another white you know, Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm not.
Do you think it just feels like it would, if they were going to do it any time, the time to tie it all in together would be now, when it's happening in the comics and there's a break and we need a new Spider-Man.
Yeah, I guess for Marvel, I guess it all comes back to, because Stan Lee talked about this as well, because he said that we saw that there was those rights that were leaked, that Peter Parker or Spider-Man, the Sony one, has to stay straight and he has to stay white, and Stan Lee saying it's nothing about being racist or homophobic. It's literally, that's what the Peter Parker character is. Just as the Black Panther character is black, why change it? Yeah. I'm not against other interpretations. And the whole great thing about Spider-Man is Spider-Man the character could be anyone.
Yeah.
It's got a mask on. It's just Peter Parker is that character. It just happens to be the way he was created. I think it probably stems more from Marvel wanting to, like, the most famous character is Peter Parker, and they want to do him on the big screen.
Stick with tradition and
and like everything else apart from that universe has been heavily adapted, but it's still recognisably classic Marvel.
Yeah,
they've now got onto like later stuff, which, you know, if this kind of craze keeps on going for 20 years, I'm sure we're going to have a lot more of these newer characters. Gwen, you know, Spider-Gwen even. You could get more kind of experimental, but I think that happens in the comics because you're trading off against 40 years of continuity that you're kind of having a conversation with.
Yeah.
Whereas here, like, it's still classic Marvel pretty much.
Yep. So thanks for watching. If you want to get in touch with us, ask us any questions or respond to anything we talked about in the show, it is superheroshow@ign.com, and as ever, keep it tuned to IGN for all your superhero needs.